Hi, my name is Ann Sermons-Gillis, and I'm on the National Board of the Theosophical Order of Service in the United States. We have an exciting project in which we are chronicling the spiritual life of contemporary theosophists. And this morning we have a wonderful guest who comes to us from India. He has a degree in botany, zoology, and chemistry. He's a National Biodiversity Authority. He's done workshops and trainings and both nationally and internationally on environmental issues, especially focused on forestry. He has a bio that is so long that I'm not going to go into it, but I will post that for you to read. I want to welcome this morning the National President of the Indian section of the Theosophical Order of Service. This is Sivaprasad. Welcome, Sivaprasad.
Yes, namaste to all. Yes, thank you, Anne, for inviting me to interview and then joining you today. I am delighted. I am happy to be with you.
Thank you so much. And where do you live now? Where are you living?
I am in Hyderabad. I am speaking now from Hyderabad. This is South India.
Yes. That's wonderful. Were you born there? Is that where you were born?
Yeah, it was a... now Hyderabad is in a divided state called Telangana. Earlier, it used to be a combined state called Andhra Pradesh. That is the state. Now, about 6-7 years back, it was divided into 2 states. So originally, I am from Andhra Pradesh, South India. Yes. And I was born in a small, my schooling was in a small village in Andhra Pradesh. My date of birth year is 1955. So I am 67 years old.
Are you retired from work? Yes.
Yes.
Except for volunteer work.
Yes. Actually, my last service was with the Biodiversity Authority and biodiversity work. So that was very, very pleasing work. And before that, mostly with the non-governmental organization development work. So that is as a forestry specialist and things like that.
Wow, we need those trees. Thank you so much for that work. Were you raised in a religion? And if so, did what you learned in your religion help you or hinder you as a theosophist?
No, absolutely. I don't see any difference. So actually, I am a Hindu. We call it Hindu. It is a very, very broad, religion or whatever it is. It's not, sometimes they say it is Sanatan Dharma, universal religion. It has, it has a broad overview. So that way, Hinduism, it encompasses, and then between Theosophy and Hinduism, I don't see much difference.
So they complement each other?
Yes.
They work with each other?
Yes.
So were your parents Theosophist?
My father was a follower of Jiddu Krishnamurti.
Okay.
J. Krishnamurti. In a sense, not follower means he helped in my native place. There is a called Madanapalli Rishi Valley. There is a school started by Krishnamurti Foundation India. So my village was close by. So somehow we had connections. My father had connections with Krishnamurti, and during my post-graduation, that is MSc, around my 25 years age, my father used to tell about Krishnamurti and the nobleness and all that. So that has really entered into my heart very much. And I read some of his books and then letters to schools and about Krishnamurti, and then what Krishnamurti's philosophy. So very much I liked it. And then even now, after joining Theosophical Society, I follow that path.
Well, so you're very fortunate, because many people who are in Theosophy were raised in a more strict Christian religion, and they have to kind of put that aside because it conflicts with a lot of the theosophical values. And so it's very fortunate that you were raised with the ideals of the Theosophical Society, even if you weren't directly involved with the Theosophical Society. And how did you become involved with the Theosophical Society?
Around when I was 45 years old, I think 25 years back. One day I saw in the local English newspaper about the day-to-day column, one item of one talk at the lodge. One subject is something like related to something, a spiritual thing. So I went to the lodge and I attended that lecture. This is 25 years back. So from that day onwards, that our lodge is also 110 years old, beautiful lodge. It's a heritage lodge. So from that time onwards till today, I never looked back. And then going to the lodge, it gives its own vibrations within the lodge. When I go to the lodge, when I come back from the lodge, I can feel the difference. So much peace and harmony it gives. And then the kind of books, literature, as in these past 25 years, as I have been going deeper and deeper into, I'm also, so I became the lodge secretary and then committees and all that. And of course, gradually, everywhere, and also later on, of course, national secretary of TOS. So because of my background of 25 years in the development work, so I became more service related thing. So I became the national director. So that's how I joined the Theosophical Society, and I like it very much. We call TS means it is Tuesday and Sunday. I never miss. T is for Tuesday and S is for Sunday. So very religiously, I feel missing if I don't go. And certainly I get a lot from the literature, from the people around, and then, yes.
Well, I was in the Houston Lodge for many years, and now I live in South Carolina in the United States, but our lodge is 110 years old too in Houston. So we have that in common. I'm fascinated about what you said about how you feel peace when you go to the lodge. When you spoke about the peace that you felt in the lodge, I could actually feel a presence when you were speaking that. What is it that you think brings that sense of peace when you are in the lodge? How does that happen? Do you know?
No, you see, like in a temple or like lodge, which has people with spiritual connections only will come. See, our lodge, one side is Parsis, Zoroastrians, fire temple is there. One side Brahma Samaj is there. That is also Brahma Samaj, which gave window to Theosophical Society when they came. When Alcott and Blavatsky came in Bombay, they were the people to give the shelter. So then, of course, then after 2 years, they came to Adia. So one side is that, and another side, some other religious places. So amongst that, this place, when it is something is constantly charged, that people who come here, come to the lodge, certainly they will have to leave their all violence or conflict or whatever, hatred, everything. And after reaching there, they will have good thoughts. I think that every element of chair and table, everything is charged in that lodge. That I think gives peace to the people who regularly come. And then this is not the case with me only, but all others also. When I check in the last 25 years, I check, they too say the same thing. Likewise, when I go to Adyar, that aura, once I step into the Adyar estate, certainly I feel that difference, and that is there. That is a fact. We can't deny that.
I think I heard the phrase one time, dripping with nectar. And yes, so you call it, being charged, but that's wonderful. And you said that your location in the lodge there is between two other sacred religions as well. And so you're supercharged. Were there any, other than J. Krishnamurti, were there any other teachers that influenced you in the Theosophical Society?
No, certainly, HPPs I like very much, and anyone, all Theosophies, all their ancient, beginners, founders, literature, everything. But the kind of clairvoyance or occultism, things like that, those things which were prevalent at that time may not be that much. We are into that level now, but certainly there is so much truth in that. And then for day-to-day life, for the society, humankind, for the planet Earth, everything, it is Theosophy is very much required.
Yeah, you said that that your Hinduism was very similar to Theosophy. What is it that Theosophy has given you that is different or unique to Theosophy as opposed to what you got from Hinduism? How does that fill in your spirituality?
Yeah, for that, I think the materialism is the important evil thing which comes in the way of our spiritual development. Because as to counter this, Theosophical Society also came up, one of the main thing was to counter the materialism. See, the materialistic life which is dominating the earth and dominating the minds, which is certainly a block for the spirituality. So that way, this limitation of materialistic life is more very significant thing what I have learned. Certainly, it is causing catastrophe. Whether you take in our day-to-day life, whether you see how people go for luxuries and more comforts and destroying the nature, and then going up and then forgetting about this, our spiritual, ignoring and then causing pollution or poverty or whatever it is.
I know that you've worked on the solutions for poverty and working with the environment. I'm wondering, since you have a lot of experience in forestry, has your spirituality blended with your work life in that you're working with nature? Have you communed with any of the nature spirits? Is there any kind of cross-fertilization between your Theosophy and your work in the forest?
Yes, certainly.
With the forest.
Yeah, with my Theosophical knowledge, Theosophical learnings, certainly it has enhanced my professional way of looking at things. See, like for example, nature, its intrinsic values. It is much beyond just its worth or in terms of money, etc. It is much beyond that. Like for example, from a tree, whatever wood cost or price is not important, but how much the tree gives shade, etc. We cannot estimate that. We cannot value that and its value. So like that, so much more deeper knowledge. And yeah, basically the theosophy, it helps in our character building, our looking at things, our compassion, and then those things will help in our life, looking at our in the work life. So in the work-life balance, it helps. Yes, we help very much.
You said you felt a sense of sacredness and relaxation when you go into the lodge. Have you felt a similar sense of relaxation and sacredness when you've gone into nature?
Oh, it is much more. I mean, yeah, see, nature is supreme, and then nothing like, like going to Himalayas or any just deep into the forest or nature. See, like why all the foreigners also, they come to India to see the nature, or to any country, mainly to see the nature. That is, the nature is the supreme thing with which we just merge, and then we forget everything. Yes, totally, I agree with you. Nature.
Yes. Okay. So one of the cornerstones of theosophy is service. And of course, you're the president of the TOS in India. Can you give us some of your thoughts about service and maybe how that complements our spiritual life?
Yes, like HPB said, or in theosophy, altruism, that is the basic thing. And certainly from my over number of years, because while working in the non-governmental organization for 20, it was mostly about the service only to the underprivileged, helping them to give some water for the agriculture, or some forestry, or some improving the animal husbandry, or some livelihood, and then woman empowerment, livelihoods for the woman, like that. So in all that service thing, but certainly after joining Theosophical Society through Theosophy, this is where the difference between just, you asked about my work and then Theosophy. See, the charity is not just physical charity, giving something to fill up their stomach, but it is for the soul, self-sacrifice, and then fulfilling their soul also is important. So meeting to see that their souls are fulfilled, are satisfied. So it is not, say, like Red Cross is there. Red Cross is for rescuing the war victims. When they are wounded, it is healed. But what Theosophy says is, there is no need of Red Cross, because Theosophy says that there should not be war. So then there is no need of Red Cross. So this is the kind of thing. So altruism, it certainly, it depends on each one's sensitivity towards others, and more than selfishness, if I give to others, that should be the spirit. And there are many people who would like to do some service for the humankind, not only humankind, but for the plants, for the animals, for the nature, for the, everything. It is for all living beings. It is not the purely human beings, but other kingdoms also. So that way, altruism is the path which I feel the whole planet Earth should follow, so that lesser now for example, climate change crisis and then biodiversity crisis and all that, and also the kind of violence and then hatred and then competition for business, etc. So much. Even 100 Buddhas, Gautam Buddha should come to rescue. That is the need of the, that is the trend which is. So I think Theosophy has solutions, and then it's altruism. It's Annie Besant has 1908 founded this Theosophical Order of Service, which is very good, and all over the world, wherever Theosophical Order of Service is working, doing excellently. And also, I too feel that we should work for more TOS with the United Nations, so that United Nations and then TOS, both mandates are matching. Even in fact, it seems when the United Nations started in the initial stages, the Theosophical Society members were also instrumental, masters and all that. They were instrumental in forming the United Nations. So that way, working with the United Nations and collaboration, a lot more can be done, a lot more is required. And yes.
Well, Sivaprasad, that was very beautiful what you said about service, and that is that it's not just about filling the bellies, but it's filling the soul, that is service as well. True. And also that it's not just about serving humans, but it's about serving all kingdoms on earth. It's about serving the forest, which you've done, the environment, all beings, you know, from the very smallest beings to the very largest beings that we have. That's absolutely beautiful. Well, I know that you have done projects in India, and I wondered if you could just share a few of what projects that you've done in the TOS in India. If you could share some of those.
No, like we have a permanent, like we have membership. TOS people, mostly Theosophical Society members, they enroll into, there is a life membership and patron membership. So if they give 500 rupees, they will become life. If they give 1,000 rupees, they become patron member. So like that, we have about 7,000 members over the years. So all that money, it is.
Let me interrupt you. You're saying you have 7,000 TOS members in India?
Yes.
Yes, that's a lot of members, and you have membership. Whereas in the United States, everyone that's a member of the TS is automatically a member of TOS. But you're saying that's not true there. You have
that's not slightly different.
Okay,
here. It is purely TOS membership. So yes, these members, that money is kept, and then whatever the interest accrues, that is distributed to the. See, we have about at least 100 groups. We have 20 regions because India is a vast country. We have about 20 regions, TOS regions, and in each region there are groups, TOS groups. So the groups are managed by the region, and the regions are managed by the headquarters. That is, national level.
So you have a separate meeting. You don't meet with the TS. You don't meet with TS. You have separate meetings for the TOS. Is it?
No. See, TOS also parallel. See, we have zonal conferences. Before Corona, before this pandemic, we used to have in 4 regions 4 annual meetings, because all the states, all the regions to come to one place, it is difficult. So east, west, south, north, like that 4 regions. for 4 places we will hold the meetings about the TOS. And also TOS, whenever they feel, actually less of meeting, more of like medical camps, health camps, or like that. See, these 100 groups, it is our working is more of decentralized. So each group in that local level, mostly in the large members are the members of this TOS members. So besides within the lodge, whoever are serious towards the service thing, so they undertake all these activities like conducting a health camp or giving some fellowships to the poor children or notebooks, etc. All this charity work. So we have in India about 100 groups which are actively working in the local level, collecting the money and then spending for the local needs of the underprivileged, etc.
Well, what do you consider one of the more successful projects of the TOS in India? Can you think of any particular project that you feel like has been very effective?
Actually, of course, we do feel that we should have temporary projects and permanent projects. Like suppose if we start a school, Theosophical school, that will become a permanent project. Or if you start a hospital in the name of Theosophy and run it, like Golden School in Philippines is there, no? Like right. That, if Golden. So like that, if you used to, that is the permanent project. But certainly we are not that successful in creating so many permanent projects, but all temporary projects as per the need of that local region. So they do, say for example, whatever is required, suppose physically challenged people are there, for them giving some wheelchairs, etc. So whatever need is there, they will collaborate with some corporate social responsibility or whatever, and then try to mobilize some funds and then do that. So like that, this work of philanthropy goes on at local level. That is more of significant than as a major project. But from TOS, we do see that the need for education, spending more time, more devotion to the education at a smaller level or at higher level. We should do some Theosophical education. We should bring Theosophical values into the curriculum. So that is a big challenge.
Well, I know that today, I believe that there's a big drought going on in India. Is that correct?
Big? What you say?
A drought in India.
Drought.
These
that
days.
Is like no rains, and then no, is it? You said drought.
Drought, like no water.
No water. Yeah, that is of course in India. It is a tropical country, and then dry lands are there, and then we mostly depend on monsoon rains. So certainly every year during the summer season, many people, even animals, they lack water, drinking water. So that is why TOS takes special care in giving some fodder and then water to the animal shelters, etc. And also people they migrate to the cities for livelihood because there is no employment at the local level. So in the dry areas, some are fed with the river waters, etc., where water is there plenty. So they're less of a problem. But the dry land areas, certainly this drought is a very, India has a semi-arid region. Maximum area is semi-arid region. So in that area, it is there.
Well, I had read that, I guess because of the heat as well that's going on in parts of India now, that there are thousands of birds that are dropping from the sky due to dehydration. And so I'm wondering if when there's a special need, do we have theosophists there that can help when there's a special need, like, I don't know, like a conflict, a lack of food? Do we have special projects? Do you have special projects to handle those?
No, again, if I take little more minutes here, I would like to see the root causes more of false development. It is not sustainable development which is taking place. See, the resources are coming from village to cities. More urban areas are the cost of destruction of rural villages. See, this is how the mountains are, stones are removed for construction more, and then trees are cut off, the rivers are drying, the lakes, water lakes are drying up, and there is no water. So this is how the more of resources flowing to the urban, which is not required so much. That is why this materialistic desire in man, which is destroying. So certainly in our, certainly in the Hindu Dharma or whatever, in our Indian life, mostly the spiritual people, any religion, see, they keep some water in the small earthen pots near in front of their houses for the birds to drink. Likewise, they give some grains, etc. That is there, that kind of feeling for the animals and birds, it is there. But the kind of urbanization and then commercialization and then the cities, which is growing up like giants, all that sensitivity will go like these cell phone towers, mostly the sparrows and all are going away. So, and all the birds, etc. So, the ecosystem-based development is not there. So, more of concrete jungles and then industries, etc., which is dominating. I think that is causing more. For this requires again political will and then local good governance and then community with compassion, and they should come together. And then villages, if they have unity of life and then for this rescuing the animals, so they can have, in olden days, we used to have the animal shelters in the village maintained. Whichever stray cattle is there, they can feed in some places. And some trusts are there, animal trusts are there, who keep all these kind of animals which are left out. Because those people who are working as laborers in the village, farmers, they go to the cities for livelihood and they leave all the animals. So at that time, so this is the kind of, but it's a big challenge of sustainable development, which is more important.
So what you're saying is that you do service work in terms of providing water and providing food, but especially from your background, you're very aware that the problem is very deep, and we need to look at the problem level, which is destruction of our forest, which is development, materialism, and so forth. Does the TOS in India get involved politically at all? To have petitions against certain developments that might destroy the environment? I know in this country we're not allowed to politically, we can as individuals, but as a TOS we can't politically be involved. Do you have those restrictions in India, or can you be involved politically? How does that work?
No, certainly whatever these environmental struggles are there, I think we don't have any. We can raise our voice, we can write, and then we can circulate and things like that. But see, for example, the human rights, like that, Amnesty International is there for human rights. Likewise, Greenpeace is there for environment, Greenpeace. So these international bodies are there. And also many non-governmental organizations are there which tackle. Suppose if one industry is polluting, see the local NGOs, etc., they raise voice and then they
so you're saying that the TOS doesn't get involved too much at the political level, that the NGOs like Greenpeace and so forth are the ones that take that task on?
No, you see, the tasks are much bigger, and suppose if I may divert your mind from this, I want to say that these tasks, these goals, these things are the fact, and then much bigger, and it has many dimensions. But what being in the small number what we have within the Theosophical Society and TOS, we are bogged down in understanding, for example, cooperation. Within the lodge also, within our lodge office bearers or federation office bearers or wherever, are we really cooperating? Cooperation means working together. See, each one, they have their own viewpoints and then they set apart. So the like what we realize, that unity of life. See, that is something our time goes in mainly managing ourselves, or this organizational strengthening of organization itself. It takes more time. I think what, in my view, that is taking more time, and then we are bogged down and we end there. And going to that step of what you are saying, petition and all, of course, we understand and then we do see, and then certainly we have sympathy for that. And certainly we are very strong in our side. Certainly we don't do any harm, or we don't follow in that, for example, vegetarianism or alcohol, all those things. Certainly we are very much aware of that. But going to that level of organizational level, I think we don't have that much manpower, and then software or whatever. I mean, like voluntary force, etc. But whenever there is any need, certainly we can.
So you can react on a small level. You just feel that you don't have the resources to really go for things politically, that your plate is full doing what you do and you don't have the resources to take political action. Is that what you're saying? So service is, as Blavatsky says, you know, that theosophy is altruism or service. Can you tell how has service, or that aspect of service, or you being at service, how has that impacted your life personally? Being at service, how has that served you? What has that taught you? Can you speak about it just personally, service for you?
See, about 20 years back, I am not a PhD holder. I am only I studied up to post-graduation. Even now, if somebody gives me a doctorate, that will not give me happiness. Or somebody gives me a lot of money, that will not give me happiness. Somebody gives some material thing, that may not give me happiness. But suppose if I give even small thing and see some happiness in their eyes, that gives me more satisfaction. Now, what I gain is not important, but what I give, if I give, that gives more happiness. So that is what I have realized. And also the senior citizens also, they also agree with me that giving gives more satisfaction. Do you agree?
Oh, that is beautiful. That is just, it really touches my heart. That is And that is the heart of service. Yes, thank you so much. I love it. You can get a doctorate, that will not make you happiness. You can get money, that will not bring you happiness, but you can serve others, that will bring happiness.
If and it doesn't require like service doesn't require always money. You see, like you can, while you are walking on the road, if you cross a person, a blind person, from this side to that side, that is also service. Not that, you know, with huge money doing some charity work. That is not the case. But certainly at a higher level, at individual level, at TOS group level, at regional level, and at the national level, we can. And certainly we do have very strong links with international TOS. Nancy Seacrest is here in Chennai, So we have, Nancy Seacrest? Do you know?
I do know Nancy, and I remember a talk that she gave many years ago, and she said, she just said just what you said about these small, she said, whenever you do a small act of kindness, that you are acting on behalf of the TOS.
Yes, true. So we have a strong, so for example, during Corona time, pandemic time also, international TOS also gave in some places, we supported some provisions, etc., for the people who were just idle in the house without any food. So that way, during disasters, certainly we do get from the international support, and locally also we should try, and then we do get, but still there is a long way to go in making strong and then strengthening this TOS as an institution. It takes. It's a mission which.
Well, what do you see needs to be done, in your opinion, to strengthen the TOS?
Like, see, first of all, the office bearers should just not for their position, they should come and occupy, but just to impress somebody. But they should really serious about doing, and then networking with, say, for example, you said we have 7,000 means it's amazing. You appreciated that. So all these 7,000 or 100 groups, 7,000 members or 100 groups, just some networking, and then making all the people to realize the need, and then at their level working out for some mobilizing some resources for doing some more activity, scaling up of all these TOS activities. That can be done. I think that requires a lot of strong bodies at, I said 3 levels, at national level, at regional level, and also at the group level. So at group level also, if they have good, some places certainly without all this paraphernalia, certainly they are just doing it committedly, dedicatedly, with theosophy spirit. They are able to do their charity work very well. I should say that it is much more than what we can think of. But still, as an institution, like what you were saying, like appealing to the major, any environmental issues or concerns, etc., if we want to do, so we should have better volunteers and more strength.
Yes, yes. Since the virus, I know that having the coronavirus slowed everybody down. I know the TOS and our projects in America have been slowed down. Had your projects there been slowed down because of the virus, about the things that people were able to do, your members were able to do?
Yes, certainly it has scaled down, but at local level, they don't bother. I mean, they're in the local villages, etc. They're continuing their work. Maybe at higher level, urban areas, etc. Not much because of they're afraid of going out and things like that. So the and also our meetings, etc., were ceased. The regular scheduled meeting, like we have in Himalayas, we have a center called Bawali Center, which is a very nice place where annually we go there for TOS interactions, etc. So such things for the last 2 years, it is not happening. So otherwise, except that meetings, but because of this nowadays Google Pay and all that, some people who were in need of some money, certainly with online, we could support them instead of physically going. So certainly that way it helped. So in a way, not much, but certainly the slowdown. Once I think now the things are improving, maybe within 2-3 months, if it opens up and when we are back to normal, I think we can do much more.
Okay. Do you have any favorite books of the theosophical books that you enjoy reading?
Key to Theosophy. Key to Theosophy.
Yeah. A Key to Theosophy. Okay.
Yes, HPBs. And then At the Feet of the Master. Keep on reading. Several times if I read also, that is really good. JK's beautiful thing. And also Ancient Wisdom. Ancient Wisdom by A.B. Indopacific.
Okay.
That also a very deep thing. And the Master's Letter to Epicinet. That also, I enjoy that.
Wait, which one did you say? The Master's what? Say that.
Master's Letters to Epicinet.
Oh,
Epicinet. Okay. Mahatma Letters.
Okay. Mahatma Letters. If you had the world stage and you could speak to everyone in the world, what advice would you give to everyone for universal brotherhood? Oops.
Oh, there is power. There is some rain.
Power out. Oh, you can still.
Anyway, but my voice reaches, it's
okay. I can hear you, yes.
Yes. So anyway, this is how India, this power breakdown, sometimes it goes. But our net connection is there. I will go on. So what you are saying is, what advice, suppose if I have to say to the world, in what respect you are saying that? TOS point of view or Theosophy point of what is that?
Well, from theosophical and or spiritual.
Yes, if we lead a very simple life and then work towards more for peace and happiness, that is very much required. When we see so much misery and then inequality, so why there is so much misery? So for that, how to achieve that? How to reach that level? See, because the rich are becoming richer and poor are becoming poorer, so certainly the division. And so what is required is peace and harmony and happiness. This is what we should have within our habitations. So for that, certainly the individualistic lives are so much selfish. See their own thing they see, and there is lack of concern for the welfare of others, and then mostly they are selfish to themselves, but they would not like to see the others' tragedies or others' difficulties or suffering. So I think if there is transformation, and then if everyone transforms to that level, that is where I think our Theosophical teachings, that is, we are bogged down in the lower quaternary, this physical, astral, and emotions, and to lead the higher life, Atma Buddhi Manas, that is the higher life. So if we can overcome this lower life and then control and then reach to the higher life, Atma Buddhi Manas, certainly all these, I think, difficulties, problems can be solved to some extent.
Thank you. So what I hear you saying is that we should clarify what is really valuable, really understand what is valuable. And those are the principles, you know, of compassion and peace and love and harmony, which we will find inside. And the Theosophical Society does offer a clear path toward embodying those principles. And Sivaprasad, I want to thank you so much for coming today and providing your wisdom. It's been a beautiful encounter. I wonder if there's any other thing that you would like to leave, any other thought that you would like to leave before we end with the viewers?
Just give me a minute. I would like to chant Om for 3 times and then end this. See, this chanting Om is mainly, it is a combination of 3 things. Starts with akara, a, and then middle it is vukara, and then end with makara. These are all 30%. So you just observe how I chant this Omkar for 3 times, and then Shanti I will. Will you?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You started out joining.
Yes, I will start. Oh. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Oh, Shanti, again, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Anne. And for giving me this opportunity to share my association with the Theosophical Society and then TOS. Certainly, it's a pleasure for me to share. And also in Theosophy, they say that just giving is more important. And some people have the expressing power and then are at good speakers, they can speak, but some may not be able to, although they know, they may not be able to tell. So you have given me a good opportunity by way of putting the questions, right questions, and to the extent possible, I could share. And thank you very much, Anne. And then TOS project in Legacy Interviews of America. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.